Welcome. I'm Lindsay Bridges, and I'm from Charlotte Center for Mindfulness, and I'm glad that you are here for our Tuesday evening community drop-in group. We are going to begin, as we have done so often in the past, with a bit of standing meditation. It's just a nice way to release the stress, the tension that you might have accumulated through the day. So I invite you to move to a standing posture if that's useful for you. So to start with our standing meditation, we will come into a mountain pose. The feet are about hips width apart. The knees are soft. You can do a very gentle tucking of the tailbone. If you want, you can sway a little bit, one side or the other. Finding that sense of gravity. And with this mountain pose, from the top of the head, allowing a sense of rootedness, of groundedness, energy in the body, literally rooting downward all the way through the torso and the hips and the knees and the feet, all the way into the ground below. Taking a couple of nice deep in and out breaths. If you want to rest your hands, this is another anchor of grounding your heart, your belly, wherever feels good for you. Feeling into that gentle contact, that offering of support. Noticing contact with the feet, the floor, the ground below, the hands on the body. The aliveness of the breath moving in and out. In breath, we'll stretch high. Out breath, release down. One or two really deep, long stretches, whatever feels good for your body. And release. Dropping back into this mountain pose. Begin to offer some gentle stretching around the head and neck. Explore what actually feels good and nourishing. It's that right place of a healthy kind of effort without any strain or pushing or striving. And whenever you feel like that movement is complete for you, letting the head and neck come back to midline, and we'll start to gently stretch your shoulders. You can open and close. Again, actually feels good. You can let this movement from the shoulders actually extend down into the arms, opening up backstroke, front stroke. All of these movements, really just an exploration. Be really curious. What feels good for you in your body now? There's no right way to do this. Be really intentional. Feel into this intention of caring for the body through this act of mindful moving. And then beginning to kind of slow it down. There's anything else around head, neck, and shoulders would feel good for you. Letting yourself do that. Coming back to stillness. Settling back in your mountain pose. Offering a couple of nice deep in and out breaths. We're going to do one of my favorite movements. I have heard this is a Qigong movement called Gathering in the Clouds. I haven't studied Qigong. I don't teach Qigong, obviously, but I know that there's a movement with this that feels good. So I offer it often. So find out for you what in this movement might be of benefit for you. Take a breath in, breathe out. Next, in breath. Scoop the breath in, out breath. Release it out. In breath, scoop. Out breath, release. Your own breath, your own pace for 2 more. The last one. Coming back to stillness. Just pausing. Allowing the hands to be soft and awake. Aware of the contact on the floor and the bottoms of the feet. The rooting downward. Energy draining right into the earth, whatever needs to be let go of. And the upward, the lift towards the sky through the neck and the spine. And moving back to a sitting posture. Taking some time to scooch around to find your seat. Allowing the eyes to gently close or stay open, whichever feels better for you. Again, offering a couple of nice deep in and out breaths. Means a beginning. I was reminded today of an image that one of my mindfulness teachers used to use, and that was of a relaxed but wide awake lion. Kind of this regal image of a mountain lion sitting on a rock, awake and deeply relaxed, in this strong, relaxed way, being open to seeing, to observing, to noticing everything around. So I'd like to invite that posture inward. That sort of respectful dignity, relaxed, awake, aware, non-judging. Taking a moment to sit with this breathing image of a lion on a rock, if that's useful for you, while I take care of my dog so she's not trying to come into the room anymore. Pausing for just a moment with your own breath. Wherever you are in the practice, noticing what it's like to give room for life to be as it is, with its sometimes very sweet interruptions. Breathing in, breathing out with this. So if it's comfortable for you, bringing the awareness to the top of the head, very gently, allowing the energy in the body right from the top of the head to begin to drain downward into the earth, towards the earth below, knowing this is a safe container, can hold whatever we need. From the top of the head, feeling the awareness drift, drain downwards into the forehead, softening the face. If you spend a day leaning in towards a computer screen or busy in any way, or maybe not, there's a way that we can accumulate a certain kind of strain during our day. We can intentionally cultivate a practice of release and letting go. A lot of care. Softening the muscles of the forehead and the temples. Allowing the eyes to rest back in their sockets. The eyelids to be heavy, drifting down, nothing holding them back. Awareness of the muscles of the face and cheeks. If you want to experiment with a small half smile, it's actually our face at neutral, at rest. It's actually the small half smile. And sometimes it's interesting to play with inviting it. What happens energetically with this gentle invitation? Nothing to force if it doesn't feel open for you. Letting the face be just however it is. Noticing wherever the tongue is resting in the mouth. The jaw and the joint around the jaw, another place we often hold tension. What's it like to soften the jaw? Awareness of the whole face, forehead, temples, nose, mouth, lips, cheeks. And feel the movement of energy in the face. Moving the awareness out to the scalp. Sometimes where the awareness goes, we awaken to a sort of a live tingling sensation, energy moving. Everyone's experience with it is a little different. What happens when you open your awareness to a new part of the body? Do you observe right here, right now, with the scalp, inside the head, the ears, the whole face and head, letting the awareness move downward into the neck. It's like to actually explore the vertebrae of the neck, the joint spaces here, to invite a sense of spaciousness, an awareness of space, knowing that's what we really are. Open space, very, very little actual matter makes up our bodies. Mostly open space. Can you feel that in the neck? Use the breath as part of your grounding practice. Right in the head, face, and neck. Sometimes some people like that imagery of directing the breath to certain parts of the body, breathing in and out, head, face, and neck. Other times that imagery is just a little too weird. So you can set it aside or use it, whichever is helpful for you. A soft awareness with breath as you move down now into the shoulders. Noticing if you're holding any tension in the shoulder muscles. What's it like to invite a softening, an opening, spaciousness, letting go? A sense of any energy that might be stuck in the shoulders to simply drain down with gravity right into the earth below. Sometimes physically we feel the muscles release. Sometimes the holding pattern is more than is ready to let go of in any given moment. So it's not so important that you make some sort of relaxation happen. In fact, we don't want to try to force or make anything particularly happen. All of it is an open invitation. That dignity and respect and care. And the shoulders drifting down through the arms, the upper arms, the elbows, energetically as you move through these parts of the body. Just loosening, releasing, draining whatever needs to be let go of, right down through gravity into the earth below. And the forearms, and the wrists, hands, the fingers. Softening the hands. Notice where they're resting. They're resting on your thighs. Notice that contact, that warm connection. Breathing in and out, right through the whole arms, hands. Feeling into the aliveness of this part of the body. Gratitude is our grounding, our strength. How often do you take the time to actually just be grateful for whatever way your hands do work, do support all moments, movement, the fingers, hands, arms, back up into the shoulders, and now down through the torso. Noticing that movement of lungs. Allow yourself to open to the mystery of this breath. Allow yourself to be breathed by this mysterious rhythm of life. Can you feel your heart beat? Dropping down into the belly. Place many of us hold so many emotions anywhere, actually, in the torso or the body. So as you're moving through your body, take great care of whatever you meet. This is the invitation from Rumi in the guest house. Meet it all with hospitality and welcome. Be grateful for each guest, for whatever you may be able to learn from this guest here now. Awareness of breath through the whole head, face, neck, shoulders, arms, and torso. Dropping the awareness down into the sits bones, wherever you're sitting. Feel into that support, that contact, that relationship through gravity with the earth below. Releasing right down through the sits bones, downward rooting, grounding energy. Great place to support the nervous system and our practice. From this pelvic region, the pelvic bones, the sits bones, continuing to allow the awareness to intentionally move downward. Now through the thighs, the muscles of the thighs, the bones, again, if opening to that image of spaciousness. That's useful, exploring that. The knees. Can you feel into the spaces of the joints in the knees? The lower legs, the muscles here, the calves, the bones. Living bone actually is full of spaciousness, has a strength, flexibility, a resiliency, and a spaciousness. What's it like to open whatever way to that spaciousness? Down into the ankles, the feet. Again, being really curious about the points of contact, whatever ways that your feet are in contact with the floor. Feel into that support. into the toes. Opening the field of awareness to include the whole body, from the toes to the top of the head down to the toes, the arms, the fingers, the entire body, feeling into a completeness, a wholeness that's naturally here. Nothing you had to earn, gift given. From the top of the head, feeling whatever else needs to be released, draining down through the entire body, right out through the feet, into the earth below. And then feeling the support, the floor, the chair, the earth itself. Giving an upward lift to the body. Feeling into this capacity to meet our own beings. The different kind of compassionate wisdom that opens us up to living healthier, stronger lives. From Rumi, we are the marrow as well as the face in it. We are tasting the taste this minute of eternity. We are pain and what cures pain both. We are the sweet, cold water and the jar that pours. Welcome. Good evening to Terry and Sharon and Lakshmi. So, as you've heard me say in the weeks past, this is the time if we were in person, we would be meeting and greeting each other, going around the circle, being able to honor everyone that's in the circle. So, if you want to write something in the chat box, would love for you to do that. Glad that you're here, and we have good evening from Drew and Renard. Grateful that both of you are also here. I do want to say one announcement in light of this. What is obviously probably clear to most people, we're not going to be able to have our in-person circle for quite a while. And there is a little bit to which I am tired of just seeing me in the screen for these evenings. I miss our greater sense of in-person community. So I've decided that in a week or two, I'm going to work on the date for this week to change over to a Zoom platform totally for the community drop-in group. And that way we can see each other and communicate and share a little more directly, actually, a lot more directly. We've done a number of Zoom mindfulness based things, and there really is this beautiful potential for connection that I appreciate much. And I'm missing that we're not getting that. I want our community to have that as a resource. So, to do that, you'll need to email me and let me know that you want the link, the Zoom link. It'll be the same Zoom link each time, so you don't have to email me every week. And everyone is welcome to come in and join. So we'll have that be just like our community time we did before. And then for people who want to continue with a little more in-depth practice sharing after the regular drop-in community time, that will be here too. So a couple more good evenings. Good evening to Colleen. I'm glad you're here. And Lauren. Terry, thank you that you like that idea. I appreciate hearing that. So it would be nice to be able to see you when I say that instead of see me say that. So I am looking forward to that change. The sharing for tonight. This is likely our last session on the series I've been offering on the Four Agreements book by Don Miguel Ruiz. Have really appreciated the teachings in that book. And I know several people have told me that they've gotten the book and have also very much appreciated it. It's a short, simple read with lots of impactful truth-telling in it, I would say. So to start for this session, I actually want to start instead with a quote from mindfulness teacher Christina Feldman. She's someone I deeply appreciate and been listening a fair amount to lately. This quote comes from her speaking to the strength of joy and its relationship to mindfulness, how the strength of opening to what is joyful, appreciative joy, being grateful, having joy for what's in our life, strengthens our ability to be mindful, to open to compassion. This is actually the ground of our ability to stand with compassion with what's hard in the world, in whatever way. So here's one thing that she says on it. One of the functions of mindfulness is to sever the link between perception and emotional history. How often we see the moment through the eyes of the past, through how we've seen something before, how we've experienced something before, or heard something before. And that perception often means that we relive the past in the present. In doing so, it's very challenging for us to see anything at all anew, to see anything at all freshly. So the cultivation of mindfulness and joyfulness is a cultivation of the capacity to see anew in each moment, to learn from, to be touched by, to be able to tremble in the face of the lovely. So for me, this quote points to the power of these four agreements we've been looking at and mindfulness together, ultimately as a path to learn how to see the moment fresh, to see the moment in a new way, in a way that leads us to the strength of joy. Our perceptions in any given moment, she's like so on with this, tend to be highly colored by our emotional history, meaning that whatever I make of this moment right now, it's really not so much about this moment right now. as it is about whatever emotional luggage I have been lugging from the past and dumping onto this current moment now. If I have a habit of self judgment and I happen to make a mistake, even a small mistake, that emotional habit of self judgment rears up, crashes down on me in the moment of the mistake. So even if a mistake might be quite small, the impact of the judgment can be huge. If I have a habit of letting fear of the future run wild in me, then I can read any little bit of news, hear any little bit of news, and I'm likely to let that emotional history of letting this fear of the future take over my understanding of this little bit of news and spiral myself into an anxiety storm. So, what Christina Feldman is saying is that when we practice mindfulness, we begin to see how to tease apart this entanglement in a way that brings freedom. We actually learn to more clearly see the present moment in a way that is free from the emotional baggage. And when it's free from the emotional baggage, it's totally different. Still, even with our mindfulness, of course, our emotional baggage is getting triggered. And so when it is triggered in the moment, instead of letting it take over, we learn to not take it as a truth about the present moment, but rather a vestigial type of lingering of some old wound that needs care. So, to find this kind of freedom and support in our mindful, heartful practice, we need really strong tools to help us in this act of untangling, or as Feldman says very powerfully, in this act of severing the tie. So, the four agreements are a very powerful set of tools that help support us in this work. They work directly with that entangled emotional history and thereby help us free ourselves to be more present in what can then become a joyful way of having wise action in our world. So, to look one last time at these four agreements for this series. The first one, be impeccable with your word. This means, as Ruiz describes it, to use our energy in the direction of truth and love. We do this for ourselves and we do it for each other. It means I won't let that part of my mind that can be laceratingly brutal to me or to others, I won't let that part of my mind gain hold. It means I won't let that part of my mind that can take pleasure or want to prop myself up, prop my self-esteem up by judging others. I won't let that gain hold either. So I'm making an agreement to treat myself and others with care and putting my energy in the direction of truth and love. The truth part is really important here because that means I'm always willing to see the hard truths about my own behaviors or others, but always deal with these hard truths with love and respect. That's be impeccable with your word. Second one, don't take anything personally. For me, this means that I'm always willing to look at the larger conditions of our interrelated interbeing. Again, this helps me unhook from that cruel internal judge I have and everyone I've met so far has at some level or another. That judge that can get so out of control, either against me or against others. When I combine this willingness to not take anything personally with being impeccable with my word, I'm not doing this in order to make things more soft and easy for me, but rather I'm always doing it to bring greater energy and action into that direction of truth and love. Third, don't make assumptions. Here's what Ruiz says about this. We have a tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We could swear that they are real. We make assumptions about what others are doing or thinking. We take it personally. Then we blame them and react by sending them emotional poison with our word. That is why whenever we make assumptions, we're asking for problems. We make an assumption, we misunderstand, we take it personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. He's very direct. We also make assumptions about our own selves and have this tendency to send emotional poison right to us as well. So, mindfulness in the moment helps us step out of that reactive mind and really question what's coming up in our thoughts. What stories and assumptions are we creating about a personally flawed me or a personally flawed someone else? When we can see this clearly, we don't have as much danger of falling into that reactive emotional trap that needs care, not buy-in. The fourth one, always do your best. This is always do your best to bring wise, compassionate care to every moment. It is not about attaining some perfectionist standard. It is about recognizing what it's like in the present moment right now, and then finding as best as we can whatever wise, compassionate action is possible in this moment right now. If I'm feeling healthy and strong and well, then the action will look one way. If I'm sick or I'm struggling in some way, then that action's going to look totally different. It is moment to moment to moment. What is my best that is available for me in the direction of truth and love in this moment now? So always do your best. That's the practice that ties all of these agreements together in a way that teaches us to deeply honor our full humanness, just as we truly are, not as we think we should be instead. I will never do all of this right, but having this intention to do my best in this direction of truth and love with respect to myself and others, I will inevitably get better and better at doing this. And here's where the joy starts coming in. All of this is this beautiful invitation to take delight in interacting with the world and myself in a way that naturally feels good. It feels better not to be hung up in all of that emotional baggage where I take my assumptions to be true, where I take all of this stuff personally, where I tell myself stories that create a whole lot of trauma about nothing. So, by practicing these agreements and breaking free from all of those past habits, we have a really powerful means to see the wonder in this world in a totally new and fresh way, a way that frees us to live a life with wisdom and compassion, and frankly, with joy. So let's pause for a moment here. Let yourself notice whatever's present in this moment right now for you. Is there some agreement that might be relevant to being able to see this moment right now anew? to see it through fresh eyes. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. What might those agreements mean for you right now in this moment, simply in how you meet your own self? And breathe this breath. Thank you. So I'm going to put the Zoom link in the chat box. And just as a reminder, if you can't get it out of the chat box for some reason, I will also put it in the description box once I close this. So you might have to refresh the YouTube page to see the new description and give me a moment to be able to make those steps. But hope you will join in the Zoom room. Our groups have been really sweet ways of connecting a little bit more in a way that I really appreciate. So if you haven't been and you want to give it a try, please do. Would love to have you. As a reminder, do send me an email if you want the link for the community drop-in groups as they go forward. As I said, this is either going to start next week or the week after. I just hatched this plan yesterday and still kind of thinking through what are the best logistics for how to do it. So if you have a suggestion, please do that. Please share it with me. I feel like by now everyone's had more time to get comfortable with the Zoom platform, that we're ready to restart our community meetings in a more connected way. So I'm really looking forward to that. I also had the podcast going, and we will continue to post the YouTube of the meditation and the teaching. That will somehow get posted up if you can't join live. Don't worry. I will make sure that there's some way that those are still happening. I haven't figured that all out yet, but that will happen. So why don't we sit for a moment to close? And then if you want to join in the Zoom room for a bit of practice sharing afterwards, would love to see you. If this is where you peel off for the night, know that I'm sending you all good wishes for your evening. So let's sit. Finding the breath now. Taking a moment to acknowledge all that's going on for you in this life, in this day, in this moment, all that's here. Acknowledge with compassionate care. Take a moment to acknowledge for all others, everywhere, all that's going on in this life, this day, this moment now. And what is it like to pause, breathe in compassion and care for your own being, and then use that bit of strengthening for your own self to then breathe out compassion and care for everyone, everywhere. May our practice be of benefit for all of us, everywhere. Thank you. Nice to be with you.